and welcome to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 525, and today's date is November 22nd, 2014, and the title of this episode is The Current Economic Collapse News Brief for this Saturday. Now, we understand the protesters, the police, and everything that's going on in Ferguson. It is a very tense situation. And right now, the Ferguson grand jury has failed to reach a decision on the Darren Wilson indictment, and we have not had any type of decision at this point. But in preparation for what is going on there, the Missouri officials have said they have reached an understanding with the protest leaders. Despite this understanding, it is clear that law enforcement is prepared. St. Louis Mayor Francis Slay speaks at Ferguson press conference. Slay says need to plan for Ferguson protests regardless of outcome. Slay says imprudent not to be prepared for a widespread unrest. He said violence will not be tolerated. Police department had sensitivity training over the past 100 days, and we'll have to see how this plays out and how sensitive they are to the protesters when things really start getting out of hand and we see these agent provocateurs step in and really gin up what is going on out there. Officers trying to work on restraint, having patience, will give protesters chance to comply before arresting. Police will respond if protesters become aggressive. The FBI has sent about 100 agents to the St. Louis area right now to help deal with any problems that could arise from the grand jury decision. Now, we know whenever the FBI gets involved and they send agents into a certain area, we understand and we know things really get out of control because things are actually planned. And we have to remember there are 100 DHS vehicles about 25 miles away from this. And of course, they're doing training at the same time when all this is going on. Now, what we see in Ferguson, the police have about 650 tear gas grenades, 2,000 plastic handcuffs, 6,000 pepper balls, and 5,000 hours of additional training to deal with the situation that is going on right there. Now, the FBI has said they have arrested 2 Black Panther members over an alleged bomb plot in Ferguson right now. 2 men have been arrested by the FBI and indicted on weapons charges near St. Louis, Missouri. The suspects were allegedly plotting to set off pipe bombs amid the ongoing Ferguson protests. The FBI issued a warning that the new Black Panther Party, along with its leader, are in Ferguson to incite violence. And we can see right now, and we understand that all of this is being set up, and we're going to have to see how far this goes with really trying to push people to join the riots and get everybody going. Now, out in France, we are seeing that French protesters have taken to the streets calling for police to be disarmed following the death of a demonstrator under controversial circumstances. Police used water cannons to break up the crowds of demonstrators who were carrying banners reading "No Firearms," and we're seeing this where police really use violent actions against the protesters. We have a protest going on in Germany where they are out there protesting the new European Central Bank building. German police used pepper spray and clashed with anti-EU protesters who stormed and vandalized the new European Central Bank building. While our colleagues, this is coming from the Blockupy, this is what they call themselves, they call themselves the Blockupy people. While our colleagues, friends, and comrades in Southern Europe continue to rebel against the depletion and impoverishment policies of the Troika, the ECB moves into a brand new palace, which cost something like $1.3 billion or so. And we can see this definitely looks like the olden days where the royalty have their palaces and everyone else is in poverty and they're just trying to make ends meet, trying to put food on the table, have no money. Most of them are out on the street, and we're seeing this in Greece, Cyprus, Portugal, Spain, Italy, France, and it is spreading. We see it here in the United States. It is the same exact thing going on where they're trying to hide the homeless, where they're making it illegal to feed the homeless, and they're trying to get the homeless and all these people who aren't working right now away from the city so nobody realizes what's going on. But we do realize what's going on. We understand that there are so many people out of work, a lot of people trying to make ends meet, and it's getting very, very difficult for them to continue on with what they're doing since there are no jobs out there. Now, it seems in West Africa, bandits have stolen blood samples suspected to be containing Ebola, and it looks like they robbed a blood bank and they stole blood, and it looks like it might be contaminated with Ebola. Now, why did this happen? Who did this? So far, we don't know, but this could be used for a false flag in some area, and we're going to have to watch that very, very closely. Now, Moscow is out there, and they're saying, listen, we know you're going to be placing more and more sanctions on Russia, the United States, the EU. They're talking about it right now. They're looking to push more sanctions, and Russia is saying, listen, if more sanctions are placed on Russia and the Western oil companies decide to quit their projects in Russia due to the sanctions, Moscow is just going to look other places and bring in other companies to take their place. Just like they did when they banned the agricultural products, they went to other countries and they got agricultural products from them, like Chile, from China, from Argentina, and again, they're going to do the same exact thing. Now, we understand out in Ukraine, they're still investigating MH17, but the question is, why are we allowing Ukraine's government to write the official report on the shootdown of MH17? They're one of the suspects. It makes no sense whatsoever. There are only 2 suspects in the shootdown of MH17. One of these 2 suspects, the Ukrainian government, was granted by other 3 member states of the official MH17 Investigation Commission veto power over anything that's written into the investigated report. The Ukrainian government gets to write the official investigation report on that accident. The other 3 Obama allied nations will place their signatures onto it, or else there simply won't be any such final report. This agreement on Ukraine's veto power was signed on August 8th by Ukraine, Australia, Belgium, Netherlands, and the United States. And we understand that they're holding secrets. If they don't want something out there, they can veto it. This means they are definitely hiding something, and we know they are. Otherwise, you wouldn't need this whatsoever. It's almost like getting a murder trial and you have 2 suspects and they're the ones writing up the report on what happened there, and they can pretty much veto anything that's put into it. It makes no sense whatsoever. Now, Kiev is out there and they're pushing the propaganda once again that there's 7,500 troops in East Ukraine from Russia. They're invading once again. Ukraine's defense minister, Stepan Poltorak, claims that Russia has stationed about 7,500 soldiers in his country's eastern region amid continuing tensions between Kiev and Russia. Poltorak added that Kiev plans to increase and strengthen their armed forces by providing them with arms and equipment, and we know this is exactly what they're doing. The United States, of course, is bringing in non-lethal aid, most likely lethal aid covertly, just like they did with the Syrian opposition when they told us they were giving them no arms whatsoever, and then it turned out that they actually were. The U.S. military delivered 3 lightweight counter-mortar radar systems to Ukrainian armed forces on November 20th. The radar systems are the first new of 20 that Washington plans to send to Ukraine during the next several weeks. In December, U.S. military instructors plan to start training Ukrainian armed forces with this equipment. The radar systems see incoming mortar fire and quickly calculate the point of origin of a mortar round fired by the enemy and allows friendly forces to react appropriately. And of course, eventually what's going to happen, they're going to hook this to guided missile systems or anything like that to help destroy the enemy, and that is the southeastern people. Now, this is amazing. Out in Afghanistan, we understand Obama came out and said, oh, we're going to be withdrawing the troops from Afghanistan. And the only reason he came out and said that was because Karzai was not signing the bilateral security agreement, which allows the troops to stay in the country with immunity. And of course, now, with the help of John Kerry, there's a new president that was elected there, and of course he promised to sign the bilateral security agreement, which he did, and now the troops can stay in Afghanistan. And all of a sudden we've seen President Obama secretly signed an order that expands the United States' direct combat role in Afghanistan throughout 2015. U.S. jets, bombers, and drones will be able to aid ground troops and help Afghan or U.S. forces in whatever mission they undertake. Under the order, ground troops could join Afghan troops on missions, and airstrikes could be carried out in their support. And of course, they are there. Troops will be added later on. They're not going to remove these troops. They're not going to give up Afghanistan. It is in a strategic location. There's a lot of copper, lithium, oil. China and Russia are there. They are not leaving this area. And of course, they grow the poppies, where they use it to pay for covert operations by selling it across the world as opium, and they are never ever leaving this area. They are never withdrawing the troops. They are all staying there, and this is absolute proof. Now, Russia is out there, and they are urging all countries to stop the financial support to the Islamic State. And they're saying it must be stopped through a campaign in strict accordance with international law. International financial flows to the Islamic State must be cut off by approaches based on international law and with respect for the sovereignty of related countries. Where does all this come from? Where is the Islamic State getting their funding? How did the notorious Islamic State manage to become such a powerful group, essentially a real armed force, asked Putin. The terrorists sell it at dumping prices. They sell the oil at dumping prices, produce it and transport it, but someone buys this oil, resells it, and makes a profit. We need to track down where this goes. Who is buying it? Who's transporting it? And of course, as we can see, no, the United States does not want to do this. Israel does not want to do this. UK doesn't want to do this. The Arab nations do not want to do this, because this is the proxy army to go in and get Assad. And right now, Vice President Joe Biden and the Turkish President Erdogan are discussing a transition of power in Syria away from President Assad, and they're discussing how they will maneuver, remove Assad, and replace him with another puppet government, and who will be the key players in this government. And we can see right now they are pushing for this. We know it's coming, and we're going to see something really big happen, most likely very, very soon, in a way where they can bring tons of troops into this area, and most likely we will see an event occur to have this happen. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.